Okay, we're on.
Yep. I mean, I could leave it, just leave it in the library. Come in tomorrow. Come back in the morning. Try not to.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order our CISL meeting for today, September 11th, 2024. I want to acknowledge that this is a significant day in our nation's history, and so we do honor and remember those who lost their lives on September 11th in our country. I want to welcome you to Beverly's School Committee's CISL meeting today. We are meeting in a hybrid remote format to allow for remote participation and for public access to the open portions of our meeting. BevCam is streaming and broadcasting our meeting tonight, so thank you, BevCam. Beginning on June 16th, 2021, with Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, which were twice extended and now further extended until March 31st, 2025, local governments boards were granted provisions to, among other things, hold meetings remotely by suspending the need for a quorum and chair to be physically present. It asks our body to use technological methods to allow safe public access. And as a note, Beverly has prior approval for remote participation of members, although through that permission, the chair and a quorum must be physically present when this act and its extensions expire. So next, I'd like to make sure that we are going to take our roll call. Please keep in mind that as we're using this remote platform, any sounds or recordings that you provide on the platform are entered into the record. Joining us today are members of the CISL committee and various members of district administration and leadership teams. And so with this, I'm going to go ahead and call our roll call. Rachel Abel.
Present.
Karen Robinson is not here as yet. Dr. Flaherty.
Present.
Derek Brennan.
Present.
Dr. Sutrochik.
Present.
Katie Kraft.
Present.
Patty Spanks.
Present.
Ryan Redmond.
He's online.
I can see him. There he is.
I'm having a little bit of internet trouble with Zoom,
Okay.
so I think somebody else keeps becoming the host.
Okay, I keep seeing him, so I'll mark him present if he can't answer. Maverick Jennist.
Also online. We should confirm everyone.
Can you all hear President Abel? Okay, I'm getting a nod yes. So Maverick Jennist, see you. Sadie Brennan.
Present.
Iqal Deng.
Present.
Jacob Antunes.
Present.
Oh, hi Jacob. Delphine Qua.
Present.
Is there anyone that I missed? And Ms. Robinson is here, yes.
Here.
Okay, and I'm Dr. Kania Mackenzie DeFranza. I will mark myself here. So we're calling this meeting to order now, and I will pass it on to Dr. Flaherty.
We could stand and say the pledge, and Sadie is our returning student, I'm going to ask you to start.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As Dr. Mackenzie DeFranza mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, today is a sad day in our history. And just take a moment to reflect, because we now have so many people that were not alive during that time. So we want to make sure that we remember and share some of what happened on that day, because I'm sure all of the adults that are here remember exactly where you were. But 23 years ago, on September 11th, 2001, a terrorist attack killed 2,977 people in 3 locations within our country. In New York, 2,753 people died, including 2,006 people at the Twin Towers. At the Pentagon in Washington, 184 people died. and in a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, Flight 93 crashed, killing 40 people as the passengers fought back against the hijackers. The attacks also injured thousands of people, and in addition to the deaths caused by the attacks themselves, many people have died from illnesses, especially our first responders, related to exposure to harmful agents on 9/11. It is now estimated that the number of deaths from 9/11 related illnesses is higher, much higher, than the number of people who died in the attacks. And today, we just take a moment of silence and remember all of the families, friends, in our country that hurt that day. Okay. So welcome back, everybody. I hope everyone had a wonderful summer and restful and a lot of fun. We've had a very exciting opening, and we're, between this meeting and Dr. Trochik at the school committee meeting, look forward to sharing a lot of the great things that have happened. Even though we've only been here a little over a week, it feels like we've been back for a long time because there's so much going on. So tonight's agenda, we will introduce our new members to the committee. We do have a vote to take on the approval of the minutes from the May 8th, 2024 meeting and the June 12th, 2024 meeting. We'll get updates from our student representatives, and then we'll give you some overview of what happened for summer professional development. The summer is when all of our teachers and adults become students, and we do a lot of learning together. And then talk a little bit about our opening days and a couple of really exciting campaigns that we have starting up for attendance, and a great back-to-school event that happened at Holcraft Park, and Megan Sudak will share that with you. And then at the end, I will show you kind of an outline of our calendar that we have for the year, and we have some months that we have specific topics that we do have to address, but then there are also some openings. And when we get there, you'll see that I've highlighted the months where we have time for topics that each of you may be interested in. And so at the beginning of next week, we will send a quick little Google poll out to you so that you can share if there are any topics that you would like us to work into the agenda throughout the year. So we're going to start, and we would like to have a motion to approve the minutes from the May 8th, 2024 and June 12th, 2024 CISL meetings.
So moved.
I'll second that motion.
There's been a motion made and seconded. May we call a roll?
President Rachel Abel,
Yes.
Karen Robinson,
Yes.
Dr. Flaherty,
Yes.
Derek Brennan,
Yes.
Dr. Trochik. I don't know if you vote on that.
Yeah,
No vote?
Dr. Trochek and I
Just
don't
like to say your
don't
name,
vote.
apparently. Katie Kraft,
Yes.
And for our new members,
Patty
if you
Spinks.
weren't here, then you can just say abstain, and that means that you aren't voting yes or no because you weren't here.
yep, thank you for that update. Okay, Patty Spanks,
Abstain.
Ryan Redmond. Okay. I'm assuming for the students, they're all new and would abstain.
Except for Sadie.
Okay, okay, all right. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So we've passed that motion.
Thank you very much. And as we start our first meeting, we do have some new members for both our adult members and for our student members. Kate Twombly, who was with us, has moved on to be the principal at Cove School. And so we like to have an administrator from the middle school that can help us coordinate and get information to the students that need it. And so we're very excited to have Mr. Brennan join us, Mr. Derek Brennan join us. He's the assistant principal of the 8th graders. And Miss Patty Spanks had been serving on finance, and she is now going to join us on the CISL committee. So I welcome you both, and I hope that you find this committee to be enjoyable because we get to talk about a lot of great things because we focus on all the teaching and learning stuff. So welcome. And I would, Mr. Brennan, can you introduce our middle school students for us?
Absolutely. I'm joined by 3 8th grade middle school students. Representing the Hale team, I have Delphine Kwa. Representing Team Balch, I have Achol Deng. And representing Team Cabot, I have Jacob Antunes.
Welcome. We're going to hear from our students in a moment. And then I would also like to welcome from the high school Maverick, who is online with us, and Sadie, who will be returning. She was with us last year, so we're very glad to have her back with us this year. And so now it's time for us to hear from our students, and we'll start with our high school students first. Sadie, you want to show them how it's done and go first?
Hello, everyone. I hope you all had a great summer. So school is back in full swing at Beverly High School. The freshmen had their virtual day last Tuesday while the 10th through 12th graders were online. I think virtual day went very well. We did a lot more Naviance work, sort of figuring out more college stuff as we get older and start to begin the college application process, especially as juniors. Guidance is hosting their first college meeting tomorrow with Boston University, so that's pretty exciting. And
Highly recommend it. I'm an alum.
I'm going to visit the meeting tomorrow, so hopefully it's good. But yeah.
Thank you very much. Maverick is a senior, so he has a very busy year in front of him. And would you like to share how your year is starting off, Maverick?
Yeah, so to go back kind of on or sorry, this I first to this
With Maverick, we're going to stop you for 1 second because your vocals are not coming through clearly. And I don't know if it's on our end or on your end.
I think it's on our end because I think Ryan had the same problem. Ask Ryan to talk and see if he says anything.
Ryan, could you say something so we can figure out if it's on our end or on the...
Can you
Yeah, I think it's on our end. Okay.
You can make me the host.
can hear
Hold on 1 second while we work through some technical difficulties. I think in settings, you can change the host.
As host, I stay unmuted and no video, correct?
Rachel, do you think I should try something on my end or no?
We had a problem with my computer the other day, too. Hopefully somebody automatically becomes the host.
It's like, who will be the host?
I think if you go to participants and then Sue's name, if you click on that, you can make her a host.
Yep, I'm the host now.
Okay. I'm going to reboot my computer.
Okay. All right, Maverick, sorry to make you do that over again, but can you try and see if we can hear you any better now?
you can hear me?
No. Nope, sorry. All right, we're gonna work on it, and I'm gonna have the middle school students present, and then hopefully we can come back to you when they finish, okay, Maverick? All right, Jacob, would you like to start for us?
Yes.
No, push it so it has a green light. You were right before. Push the same button you just pushed. You're good.
When I think about being a student at BMS, I think about the amount of opportunities that are offered. Opportunities such as being able to play soccer and other sports in gym class with my friends. Soccer means a lot to me because I get to play a sport that I love. I'm able to interact with classmates at a school, and I'm given great coaching. BMS allows me to learn great life lessons through teaching and coaches. I'm so excited for this year, what it has to offer.
That's great, and we hope you have a great winning season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Akal?
Hello. I'm beyond grateful and thrilled for all the opportunities and support I've received all 4 years as a BMS student. Starting the school year in 8th grade Balch has been so welcoming and exciting, with all the teachers striving to make our last year memorable and enjoyable. I look forward to all the special events we get to attend, such as the 8th grade trip to Six Flags, where we all get to experience all thrilling rides and activities while making memories. In addition, I'm also excited for the red carpet themed dance, where we all get to dress up and take photos in the photo booth, creating forever lasting memories. These experiences not only strengthen our bonds, but provide cherished moments that will stay with us forever. The sense of community and support on Balch has been incredible so far, and I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Very exciting. All of our 8th graders also have a very exciting year in front of them. Delphine?
Hi, my name is Delphine, and I am on 8 Hale. And I'm super excited to be here today because I know this is one of many very important meetings that is going to impact the education of me and my fellow peers. And so far, I love every single teacher I have on 8 Hale. And when I hear people talk about Hale, I hear them talk about a team with teachers that will push you to do your very best and offer support along the way. And it's already my second week of school, and I've already had my first science lab, geography assignment, and given proper etiquette on how to write an email to a teacher. Upcoming, I have jazz band tryouts, and lots of my friends are already busy with this year's production of The Little Mermaid Jr. Last year, a bunch of 8th graders got a 3-day peer leader training that educated us on tackling biased thoughts and breaking down the barriers in our school community. I hope that this year we have opportunities to use these skills and make BMS a more inclusive environment. Thank you.
Well, I'm sure Dr. Trocheck joins me in the fact that if you are an example of our student leaders, that we know that it's going to be a great year in the 8th grade. So thank you for joining us. And for our high school students, you set the tone for the whole district, really. So it's a busy place, and we can't keep track of everything that happens at the high school. And so we always look forward to your updates. And we're going to give one more try for Maverick to see if the voice will work. Yes. No, I'm sorry. We're going to still work on it. If you're in, whenever we get something that may work, we'll come back to you wherever we are in the meeting, and you're still here. So for our students, we want you to stay and join in on any conversation that you want to participate, but we also know as your year ebbs and flows that you might have a big project or homework or something due. So if you have something that you need to leave for, you can always leave, but we hope that you will stay, and that you feel free to add in questions or comments for any of the topics that we're discussing throughout the meeting. Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
So now we're going to take a look at our professional development. And as I said, in the summer, it's when all of our teachers become students, and many of our administrators and paraprofessionals as well. And we're going to just give you a quick overview of our summer learning wave that happened, because there was a lot of different moving parts and things happening. And I want to make sure that I thank, with all of my heart, Judy Miller and Ellen Faulkner, who helped me to organize everything, and Ellen to maintain everybody's moving pieces as far as credits and PDPs and payments and all of that. And then I also want to thank all of our literacy coaches, who worked to do an outstanding 4-day session at Endicott College for our elementary teachers right after school got out, and our administrators who both participated in professional development but also led quite a lot of professional development. And we also had teachers that were facilitators and ran some graduate courses. And we love when we can have our teachers teach our other teachers. This is one of my favorite quotes from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it's very appropriate for professional development because it really is that growth mindset that we look for in our students and adults. And it says, unless you try something beyond what you've already mastered, you will never grow. And so just to give you an overview of what took place, and you will receive this PowerPoint, so you don't have to worry about trying to take notes on it, at 7:30. We just like to present the information to you first, so that you don't read ahead and spoil any surprises. But this was a list of 4 courses that ran for graduate credit, and we had over 48 participants over the 4 courses. And we have 2 sessions of Designing for Equity. That's a course that Judy Miller runs with some other teachers in the district. And we have 2 cohorts currently running. The 4 cohort will finish, and they're actually going to be doing some sharing of their work at our Election Day PD. Here's a link so that you just have a link to all of the different workshops so that you can see kind of more of the whole picture. I'm not going to read through every available course because there was, just to give you a link, just to give you an idea, when you link on, it will bring you to the catalog, which doesn't seem to be working right now either. It's just spinning, but you have the link so that you can go in and take a look at all of the courses that were offered through Primary Source, Landmark, and you'll see the courses that actually people took. So our Landmark course offerings, we had 7 participants partake in it this year. We had more teachers take these courses because they're very well liked and found valuable. But I think that because we ran the 4-day institute, a lot of teachers took that, and then that limited some of the other options that people took over the summer. But we're very grateful because this is courses that are paid for by a BevEd grant, and we're very grateful for them for moving in the Cummings Center for applying. We get $7,000 throughout the year, and that is for a 10-year period, so it's a very significant grant. Primary Source is a wonderful opportunity for coursework, and our teachers find them very valuable. They tend to be social studies and global studies type courses. We have so many seats for summer and then so many for the school year. We only have 6 for the summer, but we actually were waitlisted for a few people, and we're able to get everybody in that had an interest. So everybody got the course that they wanted. And these were online courses, but there are also some that happen in person as well. 2 of our administrators went to an in-person course. And we normally have 8 seats during the school year, but thanks to Paul Casey, who wrote a grant, we actually, he got a grant for 20 seats, and we're keeping our regular license, so we will have 28. I think it's 28 throughout the school year. We also offered a long list. You saw this back in the spring with the link into the PD catalog. There were 21 different asynchronous workshops that people could do online for professional development credits. And they did a whole kind of range between technology and science and ECLC's Summer Institute and some health and wellness offerings. So it was a pretty diverse set of choices for people. This is to show you, as I mentioned, the 4-day workshop that ran for all of our, it was open to all elementary teachers and then the literacy teachers and social studies teachers in K-8 because it focused on reading and writing. And our 5th grade, remember, our 5th grade does Wit and Wisdom, but we are also moving forward with the new reading series for grades 6 through 8, but that does not have a writing component with it. And so our expectation is that Wit and Wisdom will continue through 8th grade for writing. And so some of this was run, literally taught by our literacy coaches. On the first day, they did some great work around collaborating with teachers and reviewing the year and making some decisions. Now that we are moving into the 3rd year of implementation, we kind of think of this as the year for us to take over everything that we've learned about the program and add in what makes it work for Beverly. And so that was some of the work that they were doing, and we had over 65 teachers that participated that day. We also did work on our foundations, which is phonics related, and that we had a local teacher from Gloucester who is also a train-the-trainer model, and she came in and ran a refresher course, which the teachers really valued and found very helpful, and we had 45 teachers that participated that day. Then we had a consultant from Wit and Wisdom that came in and did 2 workshops, one on fluency and one on test-taking skills. And so you can see overall, some of these people did the entire 4 days, some people only did sections of it, but all of it was very well attended, and you can see in the next couple of slides how positive people felt after the sessions were finished. So this was that the objectives of the session were clearly stated, and that they also found it to be valuable, and that they found information that they can use in their classroom in the next year. And that this allowed them to work with colleagues because they met in grade level teams on the first day. So, and each of the literacy coaches took one grade level to work with. Then we moved into the end of summer as we started to plan to get ready to come back to school. And we had our leadership retreat on August 14th and 15th. Some of the things that we did, you can see our little picture on the top. Our theme for the year was Stay the Course. We've been very focused in the last 3 to 4 years in getting new curriculum resources, replacing resources, coming up with we know what our vision is, we know where we want to end up. And so now we're at a point where the message was we need to make sure that we can stay the course. So to keep moving forward, and we will keep moving towards our final destination. And then the other area that we spent a lot of time in, and is a goal for us district-wide this year, is creating a sense of belonging for all. We listened to presentations and participated in presentations from Dr. Darnisa Amante Jackson. This ended up, she was supposed to be virtual the day of the retreat, but there was a conflict. And so she did it virtually for our entire leadership team on August 12th. And this was so that we didn't have just a one and done. She was coming back to present to the entire faculty on opening day. And so this allowed her to give some insight to leadership and how they can do the work that they need to do, but also let them see the key pieces of her presentation to the staff so that they could plan and have something on their building time to follow up with the work that she was presenting. We had a wonderful presentation from Vanessa Ford and Rebecca King. Ms. Ford is also a parent in the district, and they are the authors of the Advocate Educator's Handbook, and this is all around how schools and educators can support creating a sense of belonging and a safe environment for our LGBTQIA+ and non-binary and transgender youth. Vanessa and Rebecca will also be presenting for the whole faculty as an option on Election Day. Greg Kuliak gave a engaging presentation around AI. I think we could have all kept him there a few more hours as we're starting to learn, and then also see the wonderful opportunities it presents, and also how we need to make sure that we're giving students the skills that they're going to need in the future, because this is going to be part of their world, but also knowing how to be wary of how you use it. And so that he was very good, and he will be our keynote speaker on November 5th for the entire staff. We also did several workshops that I led, but were based on work from Brene Brown on Dare to Lead, and a book that Dr. Trocheck and I heard the speaker, Amanda Ripley, at our summer conference. The book is fascinating, highly recommend it, and it's not just a school book. This is for any type of conflict situation in work, in your personal life, and it really is amazing to watch and to aware of if you're in a high conflict or low conflict type environment. We worked on reviewing our culturally responsive teaching rubric that administrators will use during evaluations and learning walks, and to lead discussions and trainings with their staff in the building. And then they had time to work with their school teams so that they could craft and plan their opening days. And then we also had several team building experiences over the 2-day period. One of the things, they got a sneak peek at our T-shirts that we handed out on opening day, and we decided to go because of Beverly. And where we were using Stay the Course and Keep Moving Forward, we used a nautical theme coming back this year. And so you can see the compass rose in the middle, and it says, "A crew that works as one reaches their destination together." And it tied into the symbols that we used throughout the retreat, which was the lighthouse. And we use that to represent the district level and your collegial support around you, so that you know you're never alone. There's always somebody that can help you. And that we are here to help support you, but also to make sure that you stay focused on our destination so that we do all achieve that final goal together. We used an anchor because this was done with all of our leadership team, both operational and instructional, and each building, district, and departmental leader is really the anchor for the staff and the people that work with them. We reminded them of the leadership skills that they have that will be important when they're the anchor for their staff around commitment, compassion, and a collaborative approach. That they are the lead navigator, and that they often need to make the decision because they know the people that they're working with, that is this a time or a day that we move full steam ahead towards making gains on our destination? Is this a day that we need to take an alternate course, but then we need to be able to get back onto track? And they also know when it's just a really stressful time or a stressful day, and they need to drop that anchor and stay put for a little while, because everybody just needs to be in one place and working together, but they don't have the capacity to be moving forward at that time. And then everybody was given a small compass to leave in their office to remind them that they have all of these tools, and that they know where we're going, and that all they have to remember is that if they stay with our vision and keep moving in that direction and use the supports around them, that even if they get blown off course or if there's any bumpy waters, then they can be able to get everybody back on track and moving towards where we want to be as a district. And you'll see, I'm not going to go through all of these, but you'll see that very rarely does this ever happen with professional development, but 100% of our respondents felt either that they agreed or strongly agreed that the information that they got was going to help them, and that it was related to the goals and the theme that we were working on. That there was an appropriate balance between new information, time to think and work with others, and to strengthen team relationships. And that they were leaving the 2-day retreat feeling that they were supported in their role as a leader. Then we got to opening day. We had 2 keynote addresses, one on Wednesday and one on Thursday. Our first keynote was Dr. Darnisa Amante Jackson. She's the president and co-founder of Disruptive Equity Education Project. And her two main focus was around equity, and really trying to hone in on the message that one of the key pieces of equity is strong Tier 1 instruction for all students, and what our adults, leaders, the district, and teachers need to do in order to achieve that. And then also the importance of belonging, and you'll see a slide in a minute that everybody found to be very helpful, and we were able to share all of her slides with the faculty, and they have these slides. On the 29th, we had a wonderful speaker that Dr. Trochik and I got to hear at a conference last kind of early spring. And she's right here out of Salem State College. She's close, and she runs the YES Institute, the Say Yes Institute. And she was a motivational speaker and talked a lot about well-being and making sure that you're taking care of your own self before you can be a good person to take care of others. This is the belonging slide, and you won't be able to read this because there's a lot of writing from to see on the screen. But when you get your slides, you'll be able to take a closer look at this. And really, what this was is kind of a roadmap in itself. And on the top of the wave is all of the things that the district should be doing. So our district leadership and our principals. And then on the bottom of the wave is what teachers should be doing at the classroom level. One of the other slides and areas that it was kind of a good bridge between the 2 days. This was towards the end of her presentation. And she also talked about SEL strategies for students. And many of the same things were talked about the next day in relationships to how we meet SEL for staff. And again, this has all been shared and available to our teachers and paraprofessionals. So this was one of the slides, and I think it is a great depiction that Carrie Stack used around perspective. She talks a lot about how when something happens, you're the only person that shares the ability to shape how you're going to react to what is happening. So here are two men on the same bus ride, and one is chosen to stare out of the side of the bus that is facing the beautiful scenery and the sun and the warmth, and you can see that he's quite happy. And then the other person has chosen to look out of the window that is faced all the rocks and the mountains, and he could easily just turn his head and look and see the beautiful scenery as well. And so it talked a lot about that whatever you focus your energy on is going to be more of what you attract to you. And then she talked about energy boosts in a positive way and energy drain in a negative way. And I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I just thought when she spoke about this, it really hit home to the fact that we have one of the best professions in the entire world because we get to work. We may not always get to see the outcome, but as educators and principals and counselors and nurses, we're working with young people every day, and we get to shape who they become as people. And we never know when something that we say or something that we do can either positively impact them or negatively impact them as well. And so we hope that we know that we're shaping a lot of great things for people in the future, and that there aren't a lot of professions that get to have that impact on others. And at this time, I'm going to, let me just stop there and I'll say, are there any questions about the professional development before we move on to Megan's presentation? Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Flaherty.
Come sit up here.
Did you import the slides?
I did.
Okay. I made some changes, but that's okay.
Oh,
No, it's fine. We're all
sorry.
It's fine. It's no problem. All right. Good evening, everyone. It's no big deal. It's fine. I'm Megan Sudak. For those who I don't know, I am the director of BPS Community Connections, AKA formerly known as City Connects. And I'm here to talk a little bit just about attendance and our initiative this year, but also a pretty cool event that we were able to run before school on August 29th, before school starts. Sure, I'll do it.
So
Yep,
that you can move it.
no problem. Look at that. Okay. So, simply put, just so everyone knew, it's a brand name change for the moment. We're working on kind of a new overview, vision statement, that sort of thing. But just in case, for those of you that don't know, that was the chaos slide that we've talked about often, and how at the time our program is really trying to make sense of the chaos and all the things that the schools are being asked to do. So just so that people are starting to get aware, I apologize, the formatting is a little bit off. So I'm actually gonna this is just explaining what we did.
Do you want to pull up yours?
No, it's totally fine.
Okay.
It's good. And that these are what our counselors, their name have just changed from coordinators to counselors. We, again, have them, all students, grades K through 5, 7, and 10th, are essentially have access to the the Community Connections counselors. And we're going to be doing the similar things, which is a little bit more attendance team, attendance support, but still doing things like the whole class review. We're doing a little bit more from the student perspective, trying to get more student voice, and allowing them to tell us some of the things they need. So BPS Cares, last year during, I think it was CISL and then school committee as a whole, for Student Opportunity Act, one of the things Caitlin Beleza and myself presented was this idea of an overarching campaign, BPS Cares standing for Chronic Absentee Reduction Efforts. And we were fortunate enough, the state funded us about $10,000 in order to put some efforts into helping our attendance rates. And the nationwide campaign for the year, every year Attendance Matters, the organization comes up with their own campaign name, and they're using Be Present, Be Powerful. We've kind of done a little spin off that. And we have introduced, our approach is to be a BPS hero. Hero standing for here, every day, ready, and on time. This is strongly emphasized at the elementary level for a few reasons. The students at the middle school will see some snippets of it, but we think as the older they get, they may not fall into the really want to, they're not really engaged with superheroes. Perhaps they would be if I was running around with a cape on. So some of those things are some marketing materials we're using. Each elementary school has, actually there are people in the building who now have capes and masks. The principals, the front office staff, school adjustment counselors. Yep. Dr. Flaherty stole one from me yesterday. And the coordinator, the counselors, as well as at some schools, we have literacy coaches that have jumped on board. I even have one school where the custodian is playing a role as a hero. So people are really jumping on board, and I think it might be in another slide. You'll see Mrs. Goodwin at Centerville had it right on, ready to go yesterday morning. So just so you understand a little bit about this hero campaign, students in every elementary, and it's actually happening in preschool as well, are going to be receiving what's known as a brag tag, and it looks like a keychain. And we've acquired a keychain that is specific to each of the elementaries and preschool, and they also received a banner that have been hung. Some of them have hung them outside, some of them have been hanging inside, and it matches with the idea of, we're glad you're here. So every student is going to receive one of those, and it's happening throughout the month at different times, community meetings. They're also going to be getting a tag that calls them each a super student. And then the idea is each month that students in the elementaries show consistent attendance at a rate of 95%. They're going to be awarded a different tag every month. We bought extra tags we bought enough tags so students can receive multiple. We're not honing in on, October is only Incredible Hulk. We're just going to go with what works for the school. We actually did also order some perseverance tags, and I was able to grab some GG tags for those of you that know GG in math. So other ways students could make tags. We can also, there's a template that we could print out our own, that sort of thing, and teachers could even print them out. The goal is for the students to put them on their backpacks and have something to look forward to. So part of this superhero theme was launching it, and we did that on August 29th at the Holcroft Park. Some people know it as Gage Street Playground. It's at the intersection of Gage and Mill Street. And we were able to, Bootstraps had started this summer doing a mobile market. That was one of their locations. Some people may not know about Mobile Market, but it comes either every week or every other week, and they provide free vegetables, produce, and foods to anybody that's in the area, and it's a fantastic opportunity for the community to get out. So kind of bordering on that, I decided to piggyback and launch this event there on the same night they were going to be there. Bootstraps also sent down Deb Plozet and her team, who really championed that backpack drive. They champion every volunteer for our school system, but they brought down the summer reading books that they had collected to then distribute to all the ages. So they were down there. They were also able to promote all of their different services, and they were signing clients up, all that. We also had Samantha Bello from Be Healthy Beverly and the YMCA. She was trying to recruit as well some of the students to take part in the youth councils that they're running at the middle and the high school. I was able to get about 8 barbers, hairstylists that came down, and they were, it was awesome. They were able to give free haircuts to kids. These are just some of the pictures. They're going to come up in a second. So the 2 big ones that came were the MobiCuts, Eric Cagney of MobiCuts. He's got his own little truck, and he goes right to your house and does it, and we got that thing right up on the hill and parked it, and he just rotating in and out. And then Harrell Cruz, who is from Barber's Edge in downtown Beverly. He's also, an active BPS parent. He's got 2 at Ayers and 1 actually as a 5th grader here. He also donated, not only did majority of his staff come, he brought, I think, 5 people with him. He recruited 2 other people, just who were friends. And then he also donated 10 pizzas. He brought piping hot for everyone to kind of enjoy. And so it was an opportunity. We asked the kids when they got there to sign in, and they got a slush ticket as well as a bunch of gear. And it was little backpacks, all superhero themed. We were pleasantly surprised with the number of middle and high school students we did have come. We expected Centerville, that is majority Centerville. We also got some Hannah, and we got a couple other schools. Friends of friends came, which was great. And we were able to kind of tag those kids now too as well. So we have them, so we know they're part of that area at least, so we know we can market to them as well. What else did we do? We had arts and crafts. We had nail painting. We had a couple people doing braiding. We had, actually, she's 2 middle school teachers, Jess Parenti and her mother, Brenda, thank you. I didn't want to mess it up. They both donated their time. Jess is also a part-time hairstylist. She was cutting hair, but they also brought 90 bags of hair styling and toiletry kits and just brushes and all sorts of things. They bagged them all up. It was fantastic, and they handed them out. What was left over, we've distributed to the schools and the nurses' offices in case that was needed. So we had a ton of games going on. Like I said, we had arts and crafts, we had the nail painting, and then we had Richie Slush. Richie Slush came. That was where the slush social idea came from, because we were trying to do something that wasn't going to be any allergies or anything like that, and easy. So I've got over 45 photos. There's a great one actually of Mr. Brennan there, and it was great. Every time he turned, he was with a different group. It was awesome. So just some of the people to thank, and it's really endless. I hope I don't forget, but the leadership team, the principals, just everybody, the BPS Community Connections, all the counselors were there, and just the setup and breakdown. We had different faculty members, which was really nice to see, and it was just a really great community event. The other person I'd have to thank is Counselor Steve Crowley. He's done a great job helping support, and he's helped me connect with some people that are really important in that neighborhood. So after the Holcroft event, we want that to be the launch. We are going to have a banner that's going to look similar to what's on the bottom. That's going to be supposedly posted on September 23rd across Cabot Street by the YMCA. I'm just waiting for it to get delivered. And then we also have, we're going to continue with our hero campaign, I've started promoting, and I've been doing it throughout the city with different business owners, and talking about when the hours for school are. Thank you, Dr. Mackenzie DeFranza, that was a great idea when you and I spoke. But also just, some community members are asking how can they help, and everything from just, hey, tell your employees so they know their kids need to be at school on time, but also if you have gift cards you want to get. I did have a number of hair businesses that weren't able to make it but donated gift cards, so we figure we'll use those during the holiday season for some of our older children too. It's a little bit harder sometimes too for some people to just go get their hair cut at a random, without water and electricity, we were kind of limited. Some of the other things we're planning on doing, again, we're doing another kind of the drawstring bags, some T-shirts. We also got T-shirts and some water bottles. That, as well as middle school, there's going to be a drop of bracelets to utilize as an incentive. And then looking forward to what we can do further in a back-to-school event for next year. That's kind of a big piece of it. And as I said, it's not just elementary. We are looking and trying to do some things. I was meeting with Principal Oliver today here about that. I met with Mr. Thomas yesterday over at the high school, and we're just working through, who follows what, really playing different roles of supporting the administrators, the assistant principals, and the SACs, but also running small group sessions and lunch bunches with games and just kind of reviewing what it means to what are some reasons for missing school, what are not appropriate reasons. And one of the things we did hammer down today was trying to work specifically with fifth graders, just as an overall Tier 1 intervention with the fifth graders, as being a goal of just trying to help them understand or start the process of them taking some ownership of, if I miss the bus, what do I do? If for some reason I can't walk or the car doesn't start, what are some things I can do? And just them kind of brainstorming and relying on each other, but also knowing they can reach out to our counselor and we can try to help something happen. And I think that's it. For me.
Any questions for Ms. Sudak?
Did I go too long?
No? Okay. Perfect.
Any questions from anyone?
I just thank you for all you do all
Oh,
the
no
time.
problem. It's a team.
Why the change on the name? So are we not affiliated with
We are
BC
no longer
anymore?
affiliated with Boston College. That kind of came through when we were talking at the end of the year with funding and they've been fantastic. We still have a great connection with them, and we may be doing some piloting things with them, but it was an opportunity where we wanted to make it fit for our district and where we were going. And so I think,
But
also-
Megan won't brag enough, but she
No.
is a data
Yeah.
wizard. And so between what we have and her ability to manipulate the data, we were able to do pretty much everything that we needed to do in-house.
Yeah, I think if you remember, we were only it was only intended to be a 3-year affiliation. So we completed both fully the first 2 years, but we really were, I think, ahead of the pack in terms of what we were doing.
Nice.
And so we felt we had met the goals and were able to kind of extract from BC and the program what we needed, and now we're able to kind of apply it locally ourselves. So it was always only intended to be 3 years. We just shortened it to 2. So.
thanks. Just getting used to the name change.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, awesome. Thank you.
Then the last thing on our agenda, you can see that this is the overview of our monthly meetings. And where you see the orange arrows, you'll be able to read this more carefully when you get the slideshow. Those are months that we actually have a little bit of flexibility and can add in at least one topic. With our shortened meetings, although we have an extra 15 minutes now, so we have a little bit of a buffer zone. I think I got booted off. We have a buffer zone for some of the topics that we need to do that will take a longer amount of time. But in those months that we do have some flexibility, we want to know what it is that you might like to know about what happens in the district. Don't feel pressured. If you don't have a topic, you just want to hear what's coming, you don't have to feel like that you have to come up with something. There are people that don't ever have a suggestion, and that's fine too. And if you think of something as the year goes on, you just shoot me an email, and if we can get it into a meeting, we will. If we can't, I will get you that information separately outside of the meeting. Are there any questions? If not, I think that's our meeting.
Okay. Would you like a motion to adjourn?
Okay. Yes, with that, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. And with that, our meeting is adjourned at 7:10. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. It is Wednesday, September 11th, 2024. Dr. Flaherty, who was with us earlier, paid tribute to those who lost their lives on September 11th, 2001. And so in honor of those, we'll take one brief moment of silence. Thank you. Welcome this evening to the Beverly School Committee regular school committee meeting. Today is Wednesday, September 11th, 2024. We are meeting in a hybrid remote model using a remote meeting platform that allows for remote participation and public access to the open portions of our meeting. As usual, BevCam is recording, streaming, and broadcasting our meeting tonight. You can find BevCam on channel 6, high definition 1073, and on their YouTube government channel. Thank you, BevCam. Beginning on June 16, 2021, with the Chapter 20 Acts of 2021, which were twice extended and now further extended until March 31st, 2025, local governments and boards were granted a provision to, among other things, hold meetings remotely to allow for safe public access. As a note, Beverly has prior approval for remote participation of members, although through that permission, the chair and quorum do physically need to be present when this act and its extensions expire. Tonight is a regular school committee meeting, which means that members of the public have an opportunity to address the body for public comments. To send your thoughts in advance or to request a remote link, please email residentvoice@beverlyschools.org prior to 7 p.m. on our regular school committee nights. If you are in person, you may use the sign-up sheet that's on the podium in front of you, and we do request that you limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Remember, this is an address of the body. We will not reply or be making comments, and we do ask that you state your name and address for the record. For those that join us on the remote platform, please remember that any audio or video that you supply will become part of the meeting record. As such, please use your mute functionality to prevent background noises. Joining us today are members of the school committee, various members of the district administration and leadership teams, and I will now conduct a roll call for attendance to note those who are present. Does not appear we have Mayor Cahill yet, but we do expect him. Ms. Coelho.
Here.
Dr. Mackenzie DeFranza.
Here.
Ms. Robinson.
Here.
Dr. Silva.
Here.
Ms. Visnick.
Here.
And I'm Rachel Abel. We are joined by Dr. Suzanne Chorocek.
Here.
And did Dr. Flaherty leave us? Stepped out for a moment, okay. We're joined online remotely by Dr. Andre Morgan. We're not hearing Dr. Morgan. Is his volume up?
This is almost all the way up. I should at least hear something.
He's waiting.
Yeah, we can see you, Dr. Morgan. Unfortunately, we're not getting your audio right now. We'll try to troubleshoot that. We may call on you again to test. I heard you before, so we'll figure it out. We have Emma Puglisi, who is our Director of Finance. Here. And Bethany Splansky, our Director of Special Education and Pupil Personnel Services.
Here.
Looking around the room, we have Donna Bergeron, our Executive Secretary.
Here.
And a number of fine educators and students in our audience. And we're not going to keep you waiting too much. Delia Gauker, sorry, our student representative. Right, straight in front of me. Thank you. Okay. Our first order of business now is the Pledge of Allegiance. We have a flag here. If you wouldn't mind leading us off, Delia.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. And if you don't mind, we'll go right into your student report this evening.
Thank you. Beverly High School had our first day for students on September 4th. This was an in-person day for freshmen and a remote day for all upperclassmen. And then the next day, the entire building was in person. The freshman first day included an activity fair, so they know more about what is happening at the high school early on in the year. And then before the start of school, the high school was busy with many events happening. Sports teams held practices, conditioning, and summer leagues all throughout July and August. And then in August, fall sports held tryouts, the music department held band camp, and freshmen were invited to the high school for freshman orientation, led by many upperclassmen. Now that it's fall, we have had many fall sports starting with practices and games. Later this month, sophomores through seniors will have the opportunity to attend a college fair at the high school during advisory, and during this time, the freshmen will have class elections. For more college information, colleges are coming to meet with small groups in the guidance office all fall and spring, and juniors and seniors are signing up to take the PSAT. Juniors are signing up to take the PSAT, and seniors are signing up to take the SAT for next month. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You are welcome to stay because I think there are some things that you might want to hear about in the superintendent's report. But if you have homework as well, you're also welcome to skedaddle if you need to. Thanks, Delia. Okay, next item on our agenda is the approval of our meeting records from our June 12th regular school committee meeting. I'm looking for a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Thank you, Ms. Visnick, and thank you, Ms. Coelho. Were there any edits or corrections that needed to be made to the meeting records? Not seeing any. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay. We have reached the point in our agenda that we have an open forum for resident voice for input on agenda-related items or non-agenda-related items. Is there anyone present? No one has signed up in advance, and anyone present feeling compelled to speak? Okay, that was your opportunity. Next, we have items by consensus. These are warrants A through N. They are detailed on the agenda. I will spare everyone the reading of the warrant numbers and the dollar amounts. Looking for a motion to approve all of these warrants, which are the bills of the district.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Coelho. Thank you, Dr. Mackenzie DeFranza. Generally, we don't have questions on these items. All in favor? 7-0. Thank you. And now, Dr. Trocheck, I turn the microphone over to you and look forward to your report.
I have a few items on the agenda this evening, three of which are overnight field trips. So I am going to ask folks, that we have plenty of folks here to talk about each one of these. First up, the superintendent recommends that the school committee approve an overnight field trip by the music department, and I'm going to invite Adam Costa and Olivia Mincello, and if they have other folks to bring with them, to the microphone to share with us.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present our proposal to travel to Washington, D.C. In April of 2025. So just a little bit of background. I was reflecting on our annual tours. And since COVID, things have obviously looked different. There were a couple of years there where we weren't able to travel at all. And then starting in 2022, we brought back kind of a day trip model to kind of dip our toes back in the water of traveling again. And then in 2023, last year, we did our first overnighter since before COVID, and that was to New York City. And then this past year, we, of course, went to Philadelphia, and that was 3 nights of travel, and a great time was had by all down in the city of brotherly love. This year, I'd say the trip is closely mirrors to what a student in the music department would have experienced prior to COVID. So we are proposing a 4-night getaway to Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia from April 30th through May 4th. It comes at a cost of $930 per student. Ms. Mincello is going to elaborate more on the financial end of things in terms of fundraising opportunities, but that $930 also includes a $51 contribution from BUMPA, from the Beverly Music and Performing Arts Association, to offset the cost, and they're also chipping in and covering 2 meals while we're there. The other $930, I'm not going to list the day-to-day in its entirety. I know everyone was given a copy, a rough draft of the itinerary, but it includes 4-night stay in Northern Virginia at the Tyson's Corner Marriott, 4 breakfasts in the hotels, 2 lunches, 3 dinners, including the Hard Rock Cafe and Carmine's, and then trips to, among other places, the Smithsonian, Mount Vernon, the National Zoo. We joke that a music trip, a BHS music trip, isn't really a music trip if we don't go to the zoo. So the zoo was kind of a non-negotiable there. We're also going to be seeing a production of Sister Act at the Ford Theater, which of course is where Lincoln was assassinated. And we are doing a DC by Moonlight tour, and we'll have step-on guides. We'll be able to get off the buses, stop at the Lincoln Memorial, the World War II Memorial, the MLK Memorial, etc. There's a long list of them. And then one big thing that we're bringing back this year that I think Ms. Mincello and I both felt was pretty important was the opportunity to perform for a group of adjudicators or other music professionals. So prior to COVID, we had enough people in the department and we had enough people traveling with us that we could go to a festival competition. And that really hasn't been the case for the last 5 years. So this trip is going to feature 2 musical performances. One is I think now our staple musical collaboration with an area high school. So I've touched base with an old friend of mine from college who teaches high school band down in Northern Virginia, Freedom High School in Chantilly, and they've welcomed us for Friday, May 2nd. We're going to spend the evening with them, have dinner with them, rehearse with them, put on a collaborative concert between both schools and all of our ensembles. And then we are going to be doing a clinic package through the Festivals of Music at American University. So unlike a traditional festival where you would have dozens of other schools there and everyone kind of cycles through the warm-up room, the performance area, the adjudication room, this would really just be set aside for us. So as I've been told, it's right after AU finishes their exams. So the grounds will be pretty clear, and we'll have the School of Music and the professors pretty much dedicated to just working with us and working with our kids for 3 hours on the morning of Saturday, May 3rd. So all of our kids will perform. They'll get some professional feedback and constructive criticism from the music professors at American University. So we're glad to bring back that piece of things. And then in total, we're looking to travel with that price of $930 reflects anywhere from 90 to 104 students. We are absolutely capped at 104 to also accommodate for requisite chaperones and nurse medical coverage. So that includes 2 coach buses to accommodate those numbers. So I guess at this point, I'll turn it over to Ms. Mincello to talk about the money piece of things.
Thanks so much for taking a moment here tonight to suggest the trip and allow us the time to speak. As Mr. Costa said, the cost of the trip is $930 because of some help that we've gotten from our booster organization. Prior to that assistance, we were looking at over $1,000 per student, and that was really a number that we didn't want to go over. This amount includes all the lodging, transportation, activities scheduled, and meals, excluding 2 rest stop meals, so the way up and the way back. And it's based on, again, 90 to 104 students. We can't do any more than 104, and any less than 90 would affect the cost slightly, just because we're not filling the 2 coach buses. Cost of living and cost of labor and cost of goods has obviously gone up, and so did our coach buses and our hotels, the tours and those kinds of things. The prices didn't really change all that much, but the hotels and the coach buses did go up significantly, which accounts for the change in the price from last year, as well as the additional night. However, we understand this is not a small ask from our families, so we have designed a payment plan of sorts, as has been in place in the previous years. So after their initial deposit of $150, families can expect to pay about $71 to $72 approximately every 2 weeks if needed. Families do have the opportunity to pay all at once if that's the option for them. Students and families have the opportunity as well to raise money and to offset their costs through fundraisers. We asked for feedback last year after we did go on the trip, and one of the big pieces of feedback was, can we have more fundraisers? So I've set up a few more for this year. This includes our canning weekend that has been previously approved, gift card sales and catalog sales such as pies at Thanksgiving, and wrapping and different catalog goodies when the holiday season occurs. Last year, we found that the fundraising was really helpful to the cost of the trip when the students did apply themselves. We even had one student who was able to pay off about 56% of her cost of her trip just by applying herself to the canning weekend. She didn't do any of the other fundraisers, and she was able to pay 56% of last year's cost. Something that we discussed this year to be new is a bit of a scholarship fund for the music trip. There have been families in the past who have asked, can I please donate to a student who may need some assistance attending this trip? So this year we have added a place where families may pledge to offer additional costs, whether that be when they send their biweekly check or a one-time payment that will go aside to help us assist students who want to go on the trip but are financially unable to. We continue our pledge to help each student reach their goal until, our donated monies are depleted. And at the end of the day, our goal is that if a student wants to go on the trip, we make it happen in some way, shape, or form. The only other costs that the students may need, any other funds that the students may need, are the two lunches on the way up or way down to DC and then on the way up back, as well as we ask that students bring a small amount of money for gratuities for our drivers, tour guides, housekeepers, etc., for the wonderful work they do, as well as any spending money they may decide to spend and that they need. So this cost of $930 has increased since last year, but again, we have that extra night as well and some plans in place to help out our kiddos and families. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can I entertain a motion before we get into questions? Thank you, Mayor Cahill.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Coelho. And Ms. Visnick, I saw your hand.
Oh, I was really just going to make the motion.
Oh, sorry.
Because usually I ask about taking a nurse, but Mr. Costa already addressed that because maybe we've had enough years together that he knows that I'm going to ask that question.
Just a few.
But while I have the mic, I will ask, what are your expectations? Do you expect to have the minimum 90? Like how many went last year, and therefore what are you projecting for this year?
So we took, was it 92?
92.
Last year. So we were ballparking about the same numbers last year. We ended up with 92 when all of the dust settled. I suspect reaching 90 will not be an issue. In fact, just based on the buzz and the chit chat around the music department, I wouldn't be surprised if it's closer to 100, or if we end up with even a waiting list scenario, and that wouldn't be the first time that's happened. So I don't foresee a situation where we won't be able to reach 90.
Mayor Cahill?
Thanks, Madam President. Thank you both. This not only does it sound like an amazing experience anyway, it sounds like some of particularly the work with professional musicians working with the students and all that sounds fantastic. My question when it comes to the numbers is, right now between all the vocal and instrumental, how many kids do we have in the program?
Ballpark, I would say about 130, 140.
Yeah.
Right about that.
And typically, let me ask you differently. Have in the past you had to turn students away from a trip?
We have, or we've had to set up a waiting list.
Right.
So the general trend, as I think I alluded to earlier, was pre-COVID we were able to fill 3 coach buses pretty reliably. And last year we had 2 coach buses with a pocket of empty seats on each one. We've never traveled with the entire department. There are always students who they're traveling internationally with a school trip around the same time, or for whatever reason, they may just, that's not a destination I want to go to. But I would say we typically take 2/3 of the kids in the department that travel with us year to year.
Okay. Just thinking out loud is all, in terms of, I know you wouldn't want to leave anybody behind who really wants to be part of it. And yet to go from 2 to 3, you really have to get
We were
close to another full third bus, and you don't
we were
really have
talking
that.
about that, and that's where we want to end up eventually, of course, to see those numbers keep escalating. But 104 is our cap right now. To merit the consideration of a third bus, we'd be talking about 140 to 150. I mean, right now it would be the entire department.
Right. Okay.
So
Thanks.
I had the observation that these dates are a little bit later than last year, and I was wondering if that's to accommodate people who travel for the April break. I know that there was a lot of offerings for student travel returning to the calendar. Is this also giving an opportunity for the was it Virginia school if they have a different vacation week?
It's a number of factors. The schools down there actually take their spring break in March, so they don't do the February, April setup that we have. But it was partly because we know that the later we're able to travel, the better the guarantee of hospitable weather. That's part of it. Part of it was consideration of the internship program, spring sports, end of year senior activities. And no matter when you travel, I would say within a 3-week window before or during or after April break, someone is going to be inconvenienced and have some difficult decisions to make. But in speaking with Mr. Thomas, he agreed that going the week after April break would be good.
It sounds like it works out well with American University as well for them to be done with their
they're wrapping up
exams.
their classes. So.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Were there other questions? Ms. Coelho?
Not really just a question, more like a suggestion. Helping out at the elementary school with PTO fundraisers for the kids. I found out working with this one as well, a really good fundraiser that brings in a lot, especially with the high school kids, because little kids like cookies, big kids like cookies, is the Otis Spunkmeyer fundraiser. And then either by itself or through Meadow Farms, it's very good, especially with the older kids as well. It's a fundraiser to look into.
Yeah, that's the fundraiser for the holidays includes the Otis, I don't know how to say the last name, Spunkmeyer? Yeah, Otis Spunkmeyer. It includes that. So I saw that as well, and I was pretty excited about it. So thank you.
Okay, are there any more comments or questions? Looks like we're ready to vote. All those in favor of sending the kids to DC? 7-0. Have a great trip.
Thank you.
Thank you
You
very
always
much.
have chaperones at this table, but I'm sure you're probably got lots of volunteers. Thanks.
Usually do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, Allison Farrell and Brandon Souza, the superintendent, recommends a field trip for the Model UN conference at Brown University. And I want to say beforehand that I had a conversation with Allison. The reason this is coming to you a little late, and we have a policy, we try to do these 6 months in advance, but there was difficulty getting approval from Brown and acceptance into the program. So this is a little late, but I said we would come forward with it anyway, and I knew that the folks here would be very forgiving about that. I'm just giving a prelude for that.
Thank you. Yes, usually they get back to us in June with the acceptance, and they went on summer break and didn't get back to us till August. So thank you. So good evening. So I'm Allison Farrell. Brandon Souza is going to be co-advising the club with me for to replace Julia Brotherton, who retired. So thank you for coming in. So we're going to be going to Brown University hosts a Model United Nations conference for high school students. The dates of the trip will be Friday, November 8th through we return Sunday, November 10th. And I do like that weekend because we got a little 3-day weekend to rest up and recuperate. So we'll be 2 nights, 3 days. We'll be leaving public transportation. We'll take the commuter rail, good old-fashioned commuter rail down to Providence. Students will be assigned to different committees that we will have a selection to choose from, hopefully sometime in the coming weeks. They will be anywhere from historical debates or historical mock conferences to traveling in space. I think I saw that was another one that was a little futuristic, and then some also like pressing issues, global issues happening right now. So with that said, the cost of the trip, it probably will take up, so I can take up to 12 students. That was a cap that Brown University put because they do host students coming from schools all over the country. And I think last time we were there, they had a group from Italy. So anyway, so we took up to 12 students. So that's the cap that was put for our students. But I think we usually take 8 to 10. The cost will be kind of dependent upon how many students we take with hotel room costs. So we're approximately $250 to $275 per student. And that includes transportation, hotel, and then Brown University's delegation fees. We do a bit of fundraising throughout the year to help offset that cost with the club treasury. And I think that's all I got. There any questions? Welcome to them at this time.
Sure. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the trip. Ms. Bisnick?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Questions? Mayor Cahill.
I apologize if I missed it. The students are going to come from the club that you've got already?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And so when do you figure you'll know who they're going? Well, I mean, you're here tonight, you're not coming back, but when will it all sort itself? So it's pretty quick, November 8th.
Yes, yeah. So we already started like the registration process. So usually I think that their deadlines for costs and everything, usually they'll have like a month prior to the trip. But I already tentatively booked the hotels and everything just so we could take up to 12 if we do have all 12. So keeping my fingers crossed.
Good luck and thank you. I don't know about, it was one of the best things I did in high school.
Yes.
The best experiences, yeah.
Mine as well, yes. And I enjoy advising it out from this perspective too.
Very good. Ms. Bisnick.
I'm going to ask the question that Mayor Cahill asked to the last group, which is what is your pool from which you can pull those 12?
So our club, we range probably anywhere from, we'll have up to 20 to 25 students max. And they kind of come and go throughout the year just because they have different, we don't want to deter them from participating in other clubs or sports. So we usually have a rotating roster of 25. And we just had our first club meeting this past Tuesday. Sorry, it's the first whole week of school. So we just had a club meeting yesterday, and we had about I would say like 15 to 16 in attendance, and they were all very, very excited and interested in this trip. So our club officers did a good job advertising it. So yeah, we do have a good group. I think at most. Usually what ends up happening, I don't think we've ever taken the full 12 just because that is, it's Veterans Day weekend and sometimes there's other scheduling conflicts. So usually we take about 8 to 10 on average every year.
I'm also going to pile on what Mayor Cahill said about this trip, which is that my oldest son loved Model UN. It was fantastic. And so I thank you for making this opportunity available to our students.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, are there any more comments or questions from the committee? Are we prepared to vote? All those in favor of sending our students to Model UN? 7-0. Enjoy your trip.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we have one more. Marissa Lomas from the middle school is here. Superintendent recommends the approval of a trip to Montreal, Canada, April 19th through 21st, 2025. And I have your slides here for you, so I will help you through.
Good evening.
Sure. Yeah. Then I won't have to be trying to be Dana at the same time.
Okay. I do have a slideshow, so okay. Thank you for letting me come tonight. I did come last year to propose, well, actually it was spring of 23, I think, to propose a trip to Quebec City, and we went last year. It was a huge success. This year I've decided to go to Montreal, just to another city in Canada. The kids had a great time, and I'm really excited about the opportunity to go again. So this would be April 19th to the 21st. It's a 2-night stay. We would take a bus. These are some of the sites that we will see. We're going to go to the Museum of Fine Arts, the Botanical Gardens, tour McGill University, and then there's a famous bagel shop that we'll be heading to on our way back. This is more of a detailed itinerary. So we leave from BMS. We did this last year. We went to Quebec really early in the morning, typically get there early afternoon, meet the tour director, check into the hotel. So it's similar to that. Do the tour of Old Montreal, McGill University, and the dinner at night. Day 2, some more landmarks of Montreal. We'll visit the Basilica, the Botanical Gardens, and the Museum of Fine Arts, and again, another French dinner. The last day, we'll go to that bagel shop, do some shopping downtown, and travel home. So the cost as of right now is $899, and it includes everything that you see on the slide. Last year it was really, I felt like really well organized. I'm going through Explorica. It's a great company, and the tipping was already included in the price, so students didn't have to tip the bus driver or our tour guide. The only thing they had to bring was money for souvenirs and lunch. So they recommended a certain amount of money per day for lunch, and the students did great with that, and it was just really seamless. So I'm hoping for the same sort of experience. The hotel isn't booked until 90 days prior to the trip, so I don't know where we'll be staying, but we got a great hotel really close downtown to Quebec last year. It was amazing. So I really have complete trust in this company that they'll set us up with a great hotel. And the bus driver was wonderful. The tour director was wonderful. So I might even request the same tour director if she can do Montreal with us. I don't know if you remember this from last year, but students under 16 do not need a passport to travel to Canada if they're traveling with a teacher on a school trip. So that's another reason why I'm doing this. It's more economical and equitable for students that don't have a passport. They just need a copy of their birth certificate. It must be certified. And what I did last year was I had a binder. I kept everything really organized so the students didn't have to worry about losing it or anything. And customs was really easy. So it's very easy to travel with students through customs. Some students decided to room with a friend. Otherwise, they're in a room with 3 to 4 students. So unless they want to be with one other person, they do not have to pay extra money. However, if they do want a room with one person, it is extra, and that is something they would do on their Explorica account. There are some payment options like the music trip was talking about. Last year, I didn't have any issues. We did some fundraising, and what I plan to do again this year is the same thing. We set up a little snack shop on the 4th floor at BMS. And then what I did was I just gave that money to the students on the bus ride to Canada, and they used it for lunch money. So it was a really easy way, and the students helped me run the snack shop. It didn't make a ton of money, but it was something that was feasible for me to do and the students as well to participate in. But I didn't have any issues with students that weren't able to make the payments. We did get a donation as well that I had divided up amongst all the students. They can also fundraise on their own. So through Explorica, they have an account, and they can ask family for money for the holidays, or through their own Explorica account, they can fundraise for themselves as well. So that's an option that I tell families too. Okay, so this is just, some some details. So last year we had 33 students go. The cap is about 40. I'm expecting similar numbers. I have approximately 60 French students right now, and I hope to have, 30 to 35 students traveling with me to Montreal. So any questions, I'm happy to answer if I missed anything or didn't explain anything.
Why don't I take a motion to approve this trip?
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Cahill.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Silva. Were there any questions or comments? Ms. Visnick.
I think my only comment is, as chair of finance and facilities, and we have some concerns about our buildings right now.
Yes.
The selling of snacks upstairs, and
Yes.
then the
Okay.
children eating those snacks, being very attentive to not leaving food remnants or even the wrappers. So do you have any reassurances for us? Like, how did that go last year? Did you see big messes, or do we need to be concerned about that at all?
No, that's a good question. I did go through the principal and Derek Brennan before we started this, and it was a very small snack shop. So what happened was it would be right before lunch, and the students would then eat whatever they bought at lunchtime. So it was not during class, it was not in transition, so it was right before lunchtime.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't see any issues, but, I will be definitely on the lookout for that.
Thanks, Mayor Cahill.
Thank you, Madam President. So how does the price compare to the trip to Quebec?
It's actually not that, it's about little over $100 difference. It's probably due to the cost, like they were saying, for the buses and everything. So last year the trip was $1,045 for 3 nights. So it's not that much of a difference.
It feels high for 2 nights.
Yeah.
Is there any way to bring more robustness to the fundraising opportunities for the kids?
I definitely want to. I really do. So I will probably be reaching out to the families once and if this is approved. So I will do my best to do that. It is hard to really reduce the cost by a lot of money per student. So that's why, it's suggested that the students fundraise through their Explorica page, just so that they can then deduct money from their own price. Because the way Explorica works is, say we raise $500, it then gets divided amongst all of the students, and it doesn't really reduce the price by much. So it would have to be a big fundraising endeavor for it to make a big dent in the overall price.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
I'm just going to comment. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I've got that concern. I
Yeah.
also think
Yep.
this looks amazing.
Okay.
And I like that they're going to a pastry shop. It'd be great if they get to eat at a creperie.
Yes, the dinner, so typically, like with the hotel, the details are not, I don't know the names of the restaurants until closer to the trip, but the Quebec experience was just amazing. I mean, they were totally immersed. We had French dinners. They were shopping and ordering food and shopping in French. So I have no doubt it will be the same, but they don't typically book until later on because of numbers and all of that, so.
It's good. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I really want to commend you for pointing out that Explorica is a really well-run trip, and it makes it easier for families, especially with the sort of individualized portal that each student has to be able to have the direct donations or whatever. I would say I had a student that went to Puerto Rico, and they had done some group fundraising, and so after she returned, we got a check from Explorica for $13 because one of the fundraisers hadn't been applied to everyone's account in time.
That's
and so
great.
they're very, very honest and return any extra. So even if your student like pays all the milestones but participates in fundraising that helps to offset the cost for everyone, they are very honest about returning it. So
Yes,
I
no,
liked
thank-
that about them as well.
Yes, thank you. It's a great company.
Okay. Any more comments or questions? All those in favor of sending our students to Montreal? Au revoir.
Thank you. Merci. Thank you.
7-0.
And then my last item that I have is just sort of an overview of the opening of school. First of all, sorry, my microphone again. I'm out of practice. Just an overview of the opening of school. We had our orientation for new staff and welcomed in new staff members on August 23rd. Many thanks to the administrators who worked all summer and identified these in the hiring process, as well as a special shout out to Lauren Sweatman and Laura Collins for their work as our mentor leaders for running the orientation, and to those of you who attended. It was really nice to see. It's a smaller group than we've had in past years, but it's a really great opportunity, I think, that we have, and the mentor leaders do a great job welcoming staff. We welcomed the class of 2037, our kindergartners. And this year we welcomed 360 new students to the Beverly Public Schools. That number is up. At this time last year, it was 331. We did come closer to ending the year at about 350 with that last group. So we started off with a very big cohort for this grade. Just to keep you up to date, our homeschool numbers, we began the year with 81 students registering as homeschooled. And then a quick overview on transportation. We continue to enroll students for a bus. Our current numbers are 1,305 total BPS students. In addition, we're transporting 45 students to the Saints Academy, 47 out of district special education students, and 25 of our students are homeless, requiring specialized transportation. And then finally, food service. We continue to serve universal breakfast and lunch, free to all students. In the first 5 days, we have served 2864 breakfasts. At the elementary, that was 1,588. At the middle school, 817. And at the high school, 459. And at lunch, we have served a whopping 11,974 lunches, 5,139 at elementary, 4,423 at the middle school, and 2,412 at the high school. So that's just a quick down look at what's going on and how we opened and what some of those numbers look like. I did want to try to end with a little celebration. I don't know if all of you knew that on November 5th it was National Cheese Pizza Day, but our food service staff certainly did, and Christina Leal supplied our food service folks with the Pizza Chew shirts, which the kids loved, and so we had a little bit of fun in all of our cafeterias on that day, serving cheese pizza on National Cheese Pizza Day. So that was it was really fun. The staff was super excited with their shirts, and Christina was really excited to get them for them all. So it was really a fun little thing. So that is what I have for the superintendent's report. I don't know if there are any questions or.
Ms. Bisnick?
Maybe should have asked this question 3 presenters ago, but every time we approve a fundraiser, it's implied.
Yep.
I mean, when we approve a field trip, and that they talk about, we're going to have fundraisers, that's implied that you're going to. We have a policy that says you have to approve.
There's an approval process, so they
fundraising.
They submit the fundraiser forms. Donna brings them to me. I approve the fundraising forms, and we keep them all on file so we know which
And that's,
fundraising.
like, in essence, part of that approval process, right? So we just approved that, so that means you're going to approve their fundraising activities.
Yep.
Thank you.
I think some of them are already pre-approved. So they put them through already.
To piggyback on that, are we doing that for PTOs and boosters and all of those organizations?
So everyone is aware that all fundraising efforts need to submit. There's a form that they need to submit through the superintendent's office, and we, approve each one of those. The booster clubs are great about it. They're very, very good. They put their forms in, and they come across, and I sign them. It's been a busy couple of weeks, actually. There's been a lot of forms coming across for all of us. So,
Great.
yeah.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions for Dr. Trocek? Not seeing any. Thank you so much for your report and for bringing those wonderful field trip opportunities. The chair only has to report that we do have a negotiations meeting scheduled for tomorrow. That is, you almost had me say November, September 12th. That is at 3:30 p.m. And we're meeting with the BTA. We're actually going to be at the high school auditorium for this session, starting at 4 p.m. And then our next meeting here in this room would be our finance and facility. Again, our standing committees are starting at 6:15 p.m. in order to make sure we're able to accomplish our agendas without bumping into our committee of the whole that starts at 7:30. That is on September 25th, so 2 weeks from tonight. For our committee reports, I believe we heard from Chairperson Visnick at our Committee of the Whole on the 28th of August because we did have a number of transfers and things that needed to be taken care of, but do you have something to report?
Yes, we were supposed to have a planning today. We were supposed to have a planning meeting today, and Ms. Brown was ill, so we didn't do our agenda planning we kind of try to project outwards who we're going to invite as our guest speakers. But we need to reconsider policy DJE, which is the policy that our charter says the mayor gives purchasing permission to one named individual, right? So we've already seen that policy once recently, just in general updates, and we said we would revisit it once we got a new finance director on board. So I expect that in 2 weeks we'll look at that policy, and then at our next meeting of the whole, it'll come forward for a first reading.
Okay.
With just a name change.
We'll make sure we have that coordinated so that we can do it that same night.
No.
Great. Okay. Thank you for that report. For the curriculum, instruction, and student life, Chairperson Dr. Mackenzie DeFranza.
Thank you. So CISL did meet this evening at 6:15. We heard from our new and returning student and community representatives from both the middle school and high school. We had a presentation on the leadership professional development that occurred in August, so that we know what our leaders are going to be focusing on this year. The theme is on belonging. There was also a presentation on artificial intelligence and also a focus on culturally responsive teaching. Megan Sudak, who's the director for BPS Community Connections, presented on the attendance initiative, which was held at Holcroft Park. That included businesses supporting students getting haircuts, supplies, and incentives. So City Connects has been rebranded as BPS Community Connections as a current name, just so we know that that opportunity still exists for students to be supported in those attendance efforts. Our next meeting is going to be on October 9th at 6:15. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that report. And the slides that Dr. Flaherty presented have been distributed to us, and BevCam had recorded that if you have any interest in seeing a little bit deeper dive into some of the themes that the district is bringing forward for this year. Negotiation Subcommittee, as I just mentioned in my dates report, we have our next meeting tomorrow. We've had a number of community updates that have been distributed to members of our district community. For our Policy Review Subcommittee, we don't have any dates on the calendar as of tonight.
That is correct. I'm kind of waiting. We'll have to do something when our Title IX, figures, when all those changes are approved and out of the legal system. Until then, I don't believe that I've seen anything from MASC that says, please take a look at this. So we're just on our regular rotation, thanks to the wonderful Donna. Any given subcommittee may have a policy to review out of our regular rotation, but there's nothing demanding from MASC at this time that would require the policy subcommittee to meet.
Okay, thank you so much for that report. Next on our agenda is an opportunity for school committee members to bring communications forward to the table. Is there anyone that had a communication they just wanted to bring to the table? Ms. Visnick.
series of dates of things that have been communicated to me that are community things that
Okay.
people should maybe do.
Okay.
Starting with tomorrow, for our students who are interested in green team or environmental club types of things, there's a climate resilient schools committee meeting over Zoom, and there will be discussion about they want to start a youth cohort, and they are seeking participants, and you have to apply, and the application deadline is the end of this month. And if you participate, you then can earn $1,000. It's like a scholarship, but it's kind of a payment for your time. On Wednesday, a week from today, we have, I'm sorry, what?
Whose meeting is that?
It's a group called the Climate Resilient Schools.
Counselor Spang, I think, shared it with us.
With some of us, yes, and I forwarded it to the superintendent and to Mr. Thomas to try to be eligible. You have to be a high school student. So I know there's some very environmentally active high schoolers, and hopefully they'll jump in there. So it's a Zoom. You could start and get information, right? And then see if you like it. All right, so 1 week from tonight at 5:30, Centerville's having their welcome back picnic. And the request is for people to not only bring their chairs, blankets, and their pizza, but maybe some donations for Beverly Bootstraps. Also 1 week from tonight at 7 p.m. is an event at the Cabot, building a more inclusive Beverly. We have then at the end of September, on September 26th, 3 different events. Green Beverly's having an event. Both the Beverly High School and Beverly Middle School are hosting Chris Herron. For those of you who have been here a long time, you'll remember that we've had him come speak to our students before. It's a wonderful opportunity, thanks to some grant money that was made available. And then on September 28th, there are 2 events that really relate to our food services and our local farming. Both our friends at what I would call the Aggie, but is now called INSAT, and our friends at Moraine Farm, where our food services purchases a lot of our organic, fresh vegetables for our students to eat. Both of those communities are offering come on campus and visit and learn about local farming. So if anybody wants to do any of those things, I'm probably going to be at a lot of them based on my homework schedule.
Thank you for that. I also just want to highlight that a number of the PTOs are having their meetings, and at a couple that I attended, the request to broadcast out that the Fall Frolic registration is starting to open, so people should be looking for that information coming home in backpack mail, over social media, etc. It's a great fundraiser for all of our elementary schools especially, and it's just a lot of fun. October is a great time to be down at Lynch Park, running either in the Fun Run or the 5K. So mark your calendar, make sure you get that registration so you get yourself a t-shirt, and hope to see people there. I did have one communication that resolved itself overnight. Basically, there were some concerns and confusion over the bus routes for the first day of school, and put those folks in contact with the transportation department. It all sorted out. I assume everyone got to school just as they had planned, so that was great. If no one else has anything further to say, the chair will make a motion that we vote to meet in executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A. This will be for purposes 7 and 3, and not to return back to open session. Purpose 7 is to review and approve the minutes of our executive session meeting of August 28, 2024, and Purpose 3 is to discuss strategy with respect to and in preparation for collective bargaining with Beverly Teachers Association and AFSCME units, because an open discussion may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the committee, and again, not to return to open session.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. So there's a motion by the chair and a second. It does require a roll call vote. Mayor Cahill?
Yes.
Kimberly Coelho?
Yes.
Kenan McKenzie DeFranza?
Yes.
Karen Robinson?
Yes.
Jeffrey Silva?
Yes.
Lorinda Visnick.
Yes.
And Rachel Abel, yes. I count 7-0. The time is 8:24 p.m. I'd like to thank BevCam for broadcasting us today, and thank you to members for joining us online.